We have watched and been part of camping growing in China, and we know that there are very exciting things happening in China, and it seems like the right time for us to travel. So we want to come to China to help, but also to learn.
这个呢，相当于我们营地教育行业的一个奥运会，因为它既然是奥运会嘛，我们到时就有各国的文化展示。但是我们中国人讲一句话，取法其上，得乎其中，对吧？所以我们就把目标定得高远一些。
我们是希望这次能够有1万人参与其中，而其中8000人呢，我们希望是这个行业的年轻的从业者。主会场位于中国首都的北京，参会者们有机会来到奥林匹克公园。大会举办的时间是10月10号到14号。10月呢是北京最漂亮的季节了，秋高气爽，金色满园，朋友们可以去故宫啊、天坛啊，感受一下中国的历史文化；去香山看看红叶，去登长城做一把好汉。这次大会与历届大会有很多不同之处，其中一个亮点是，除了北京的主会场，还将在中国几个具有地域文化特色的城市举办分会场。我们将带着国际专家们一起深入到中国内地，专家们将他们的经验分享给更多营地教育从业者的同时呢，也有机会了解中国的市场，了解中国营地教育的发展情况。分会场所在地不仅有特色的营地，也有非常深厚的文化底蕴，比如13朝古都西安、江南水乡乌镇、桃花源的所在地常德、汉民族的发源地汉中、五岳之首泰山的所在地泰安等等。当然，我们还有别具特色的邮轮分会场，大家可以在长江邮轮上一边开会，一边观赏三峡美景。我们希望通过本次大会，将中国营地教育的特色展示给全世界，也为世界营地教育大家庭添一抹新意。
So when we come to China, we'll be able to meet them and learn about the camp experience from the Chinese eyes and the Chinese heart. But we also want to bring our story so that we can share together and learn from each other and have a better idea of how the camping movement can grow as a world movement.
You know, here's the world. It's much bigger than just American-style camping. There is Mongolian camping, Japanese camping, Russian camping.
Ну, я повторюсь, на самом деле это высокое значение. Педагогами лагерей, они встречаются с детьми, они принимают участие в мероприятиях, которые организуют лагеря. И поэтому этому движению существовать и очень долго еще.
中国虽然营地发展的比较晚，但是速度非常快。尤其近2年呢，已经可以直追国际的这种高标准的营地行业的建设以及运营。
所以营地教育这个概念是一个全新的概念。那么我们营地教育呢，它的主要目的不是为了让孩子们学会一个什么东西，你更重要的是激发他对于某一学科、某一个事物的热情和勇气。
看到他们的一些实际上的一些变化。我们觉得就是营地教育真的可以给中国的这种普通的很多孩子带来很多一些改变啊，
完全的打开了我的心扉，让我非常的自信起来。
主要以开拓眼界，然后培养自己的能力。
营地给我最大的一个感受就是无所不能，只要你想。
那中国有2点多亿的青少年。这个市场空间是非常大的，那不管它最后的形式可能跟美国的不一样，跟俄罗斯的不一样，跟日本的不一样，但它总能够找到自己的一套就是独特的一个方式。
我们希望这一次大会是为中国营地教育发展未来10年奠定基础的一个大会。
北京欢迎您，
我在北京等你。
Welcome to China，
北京欢迎你。
ICC 2020
我在北京等你。
Good. Thank you and welcome very much. I am so happy to be here. What a wonderful experience it is to host and moderate today's event. And it's a difficult time as well. It's a difficult time for many industries and especially for camps. And camps are in crisis. And that's why today we're hosting a conversation from leaders of the industry around the world to have some perspective on what people are doing from different parts of our planet. And sometimes just hearing that we're all struggling helps. But more importantly, sometimes hearing that we are working and fighting helps even more. So here we go on a little journey to around the world. Let's move to the next slide. And if we're having issues with the slides, please let us know and we'll see if somebody else can be hosting the slides. So we have many continents around the world that are represented. And before we introduce our panel for today, I'd like to invite Fari, who is the president of ICF, to talk about some of those countries that aren't represented today.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Gabby. It's a really exciting moment with the help of a great team working for this academy to make real. I appreciate everyone for this work, and we are delighted to have participants from literally all over the world. So at the end, I'm sure we will say how many countries, how many continents were participated. Today, we will focus on 4 countries, but we want to share a tiny glimpse of other countries as well. The first, Japan. The National Camp Association of Japan conducted a survey of members and found that 70% conducted some form of camp, with postponements or downsizing. 1 or 2 days camp were held, and 20% did not have camp at all. Each region of Russia made different decisions about the health and the safety. 69% of the regions allowed camps to open last summer. Only 9,000 opened in 2020, and compared to almost 45,000 camps, which were opened in 2009. So 45,000 camps in total, 9,000 of them could open. In the fall and winter, some year-round camps were open based on the COVID statistics in the region. With the vaccine and a reduction of 30% in the new cases, Russian camps are optimistic about this summer. The new governmental regulations will be issued in March. So we will hear more about our Russian friends in March about how the next summer is going to happen. In South Africa, the residential camps were not held, but educational virtual youth clubs are going strong with vital life skills information about gender-based violence, rape, STIs, HIV/AIDS, drug abuse, and abusive behaviors. So in addition, academic tutoring has taken on a larger role in the virtual camps in math, science, and English. Currently, transferring 600 hours of online materials to our website, so the kids can get access with lower data charges for the materials. Given the infrastructure challenges of most campers, this has not been an easy task. Camp Sizanani just received a contract to deliver 12 girls empowerment 3-day weekend camps with 100 girls per camp. So in Liberia, we have some news. They have diversified camping to address some of the social and economic issues confronting Liberia. So they're dealing, like each country has similar problems with camps, but some has bigger problems. Since August, we offer vocational programs for young people to learn contextualized skills to contribute to rebuild their communities and improving food security. We are also use the camp model to raise awareness about peace, nonviolence, and increased participation in democracy and human rights. So ICF is not giving standard information to all the countries or standards accreditation programs. So in different countries, we have different issues, and our friends, our members in different countries contact with us, and we do our best to help them. In Nigeria, the camp is a brand new concept. What camp has to offer in complementing formal education is waiting to be cultivated and explored. The government is not involved. It is the private sector with churches leading the way. Despite COVID, the focus is on staff training and producing food at the camp farm. So maybe we have another webinar about different styles, different forms of camps happening in different parts of the world. So we can share more information with these. I mean, as in Australia, the state borders were closed. So Australia is an island and the borders were closed. And the school camps should happen within each state with their own people. So no traveling between the regions. The state can and does impose short-term shutdowns if there is a COVID breach. So events are hard to plan because organizations do not have confidence about what will happen. So most friends were afraid not to see this next step, and then they stopped. As you can see, different countries are coping in different ways, and camp creativity is shining clear. We are proud of each of you for your hard work to support the youth of the world. Now I'd like to introduce our distinguished panelists like Tom, Carolina, Pablo, and Harvey. Thank you so much, friends, for being a part of this very nice moment, very special moment. And now I would like to turn to our moderators for the rest of the program. And thank you very much. And I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Fari. And yes, we have Tom Rosenberg from the United States, Carolina Felix from Spain, Pablo Casas from Mexico, and Hardy Wang from China. And today, this is where our journey is taking us. We're going to be looking at a couple of questions. All of these questions are timed. And Simon, if you can put up the slide so people can read those questions, that'd be wonderful. So first question will be, what happened last summer? We want to know a little bit of the perspective of what's going on around the world. Next is, what has your association done this year to support your camps? What do you anticipate for the next month/year? And what are you doing differently based on what you've learned from other camps? What is the best aspect of your work that other countries can learn from? What did you try that did not work, which is one of my favorite questions, but other countries could learn from? And that just shows how the camping community is here to share so we can all be better together. And finally, what are your final words for the world? If you have any questions, we'll move on to housekeeping, Simon. If you have any questions, please ask them in our chat. That's where all of the action is going to be happening. And if you could put a Q before your question, then our moderators will know that you're asking questions, and they'll filter it to us. And during the presentation, if it seems like it fits in, then we'll be answering those questions throughout, or we might just be answering at the very end. So we ask you to please mute. It's best if your camera is off, and we suggest to hide your non-video participants so that you have the full focus on the speaker and the slides. Keep your questions and ideas flowing in the chat, as we mentioned, and you can use your native language, which I'm really excited about because translations will be provided in the chat in Russian, Chinese, and Spanish. So what we'll be seeing on the slides will also be translated in the chats, which I'm so happy to hear. We plan to not take any formal breaks. So if you need to move away from the computer, please feel free to do so. And at the very end, we'll be asking everybody to get a piece of paper and a marker because we want to do a little big finish. A little big finish. That's right, I said it. So here we go on our journey to learn about what has been happening around the world, and who best to start us off and kick us off with a 30-second question of what happened last summer. Tom, it's up to you.
Okay, I'm now on mute, 15 seconds. Good morning, everybody. So last year, like many places, everything happened very fast in the spring. The CDC in our country was busy trying to set guidance for probably thousands of different industries. So we needed to basically work to develop our own guidelines for how camps might operate safely. So we worked with environmental health consultants to create a field guide with the use of a panel of experts. And so that field guide provided some educational resources at a granular level on how to operate day and overnight camps. Only 60% of day camps and 18% of overnight camps operated in the end that last summer. And a lot of camps opted for virtual online programs as well as in-person family camps. The most important thing that we did last summer, in addition to operating what we could, was to invest in several research studies to measure what happened, to do the research on what happened last summer, how camps did perform successfully, and how camps did make mistakes. And that way, this summer, we could learn from that research. More on that later.
Thanks, Tom. And we'll be moving over to Carolina. You're on mute. We will unmute you.
Okay.
Perfect.
Perfect. Well, good morning to everyone. It is Carolina from Spain. In our country, we didn't have an association to begin with because every single autonomy worked with their own legislation. So what happened was that because of all the problems going on, we wanted to be informed and we wanted to make everyone hear us. So there was a group of camp directors and different staff that started a group on Telegram, and we're posting constantly all the different problematics in different areas. There were about, more than 500 actually, which was really nice to hear that everyone in Spain had all the same problems. Then each region, which has an association in our region, for example, we are in Catalonia, we had our contacts and we were very updated with the protocols. Everyone was giving this information to the collective, to the group, so that we were sort of informing each other and helping each other produce these definitive protocols that came out around May. In June, some of them were adapted also to their own regions. There were many cancellations, like everyone else had. Families really worried, but in the end, we were able, in many camps, we were able to work with less numbers, obviously, but we were happy that we were able. And in September, after the whole thing finished, we managed to organize the association and make it official. And this association, ANIA Camp, is the Spanish association. It's beginning right now, really strong, and trying to get more associates, more members, and helping each other. So we're very happy that became, after a big disaster, there was a good thing happening.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you so much for the silver lining. Harvey. Hi, Harvey, we see you. We just need to unmute. There we go.
Hello.
Hi.
Can everybody hear me? Hello. Hi, everybody. This is Harvey from China. I'm representing CCEA. So last summer, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Gab. So last summer, what happened in China? I can quickly give a little bit data for the last summer. The COVID definitely is the biggest thing to influence China's camp education industry. By the end of May, but China's government controlled very well, so it's already below the 1,000 cases, the whole nationwide. So then back the July, some new cases happen again. So a lot of different provinces like Xinjiang or Shanghai, Beijing, or Yunnan from southwest of China, they all got new cases. So then the government decided to just cut everything off, especially for the school side and the training centers, all those kind of institutions. They decided to let everybody off the work until the new policy come out. So that's why the parents start to worry about, on one hand, the China's domestic market, the cases getting again. On the other hand, people watching the international news, so they saw that America, UK, all the other countries getting higher and higher cases every day. So that's why the government decided to be cautious and then let all the primary school, middle school, all level schools and training schools to close. So that camp being very big influenced by that. So the parents would not let any children go out for camping very much. That's what happened for last summer in China. In general speaking, the parents' confidence was very low, and then, yeah, the worry was high.
Yes, thank you so much, Hardy. Pablo.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Gabriel. Well, being the last one to talk, it's always hard, but in Mexico wasn't that different. We work a lot with schools, so we have a very busy school season, and that school season was a chaos. Everybody had to cancel because all schools were closed. They're still closed in Mexico. One thing is that we never knew if our government allowed camps or not, because we were in an industry that was not a restaurant, not a hotel, but something like in between. So we never knew where to fit. But at the end, about 65% of our camps didn't work on the summer or didn't run a camp. About 10 or 15% did some virtual camps, and about 25% were able to run in-person camps. The good news here is that we had in total about 500 kids, which is very low for our typical numbers. But out of those 500 kids, we had no COVID cases at all with staff and kids, so that was great news. But the truth is that we all struggled a lot. All camps in Mexico were really hurt about the situation, even though some were able to operate in one way or another. So that's basically it.
Thank you so much, Pablo. And before we move on to our second question, where Hardy will be leading that conversation, I just want to let you know that I'm aware that those 30 seconds might have been a little bit longer. I'd like to take the liberty of the final quarter of any sporting event where it's supposed to be just 2 minutes, and it seems more like 15 minutes. But moving forward, the 2 minutes will apply for our speakers with that time. And like a camp director, I love making up rules as I go along. So Hardy, if you could help answer, what has your association done this year to help support camps?
Okay, that will be my pleasure. So what our organization, which is a CCEA, has done for the China's camp industry was basically from these 4 points I would like to say today. Number one, the channels to promote each member's news and actions. What that means was, in China, we have the big platform called WeChat. So we create many groups on WeChat, and also every day our organization, me and my colleagues, we create like digital document, more like a news and actions portal publisher things. So we can send to all those groups, and all the camp peers, they can see the news, globally news we collected every day on there. Number two, the promotion activities online for helping each member company to find business clients and partners. What that means was we noticed because of the COVID, so a lot of businesses closed. Also, a lot of businesses are struggling. So our organizations try to use our network to connect different part of the industry's players, especially for our members companies, to find their clients or find their partners they can keep going for the business or preparing for the next period. The third part was find the experts, give the camps ideas and suggestions, the guides. So we're trying to, since everybody at home or work at home, we're trying to find more the industry experts, the camping industry experts, or sometimes even the government department policy makers to give us the guidelines or give us suggestions, ideas for that moment. So then we pass the words to those members companies or just published on our website or the WeChat groups, our channels. The last part is we find more suitable candidates to work for each member's companies, which means like on the other hand, like a lot of companies died, but also a lot of education industries players are preparing for a next period of booming their business. So they are trying to get more talents from the market, but they cannot find that easily. So we are also helping them to find more suitable talents and candidates for their later on business. That's basically what our organization has done mainly for the camping industry in China.
Thank you so much, Harvey. Tom?
Okay. So this year was really about sharing the learning from last summer. We worked really hard, as I mentioned before, to gather a lot of research and disseminate it as widely as possible. So our CDC at that point, by the end of the summer, they were looking to open schools. They had no data on kids other than really what happened during the summer. Sadly, they didn't utilize that information as well as they could have. Otherwise, we would have had a better school year. But in the end, we've had really stronger collaboration this year with our CDC on that. So we gathered and disseminated this new information as widely as possible. We collected best practices from camps that were able to operate. We did a lot of different webinars trying to help camp directors speak to other camp directors to share how they learn how to operate most successfully in the summer, both day and overnight camps. So we've also been trying, so in the US, we have 50 different states. Each state is responsible for the health and safety of their families. So they set their own rules. So we had to not only communicate with the CDC, but also with state regulators. So we've been working on that quite a lot. And we've also been advocating to Congress for relief and resources to help our camps survive, frankly, to the next year. With only 18% of overnight camps being able to operate, approximately 11 states did not permit overnight camping. The government got it wrong about overnight camp. They actually recently shared with us privately in a meeting how wrong they were just the other day. So, and we've also really tried to build a strong field. So we've had lots of what we call camp community connections meetings, bringing camp directors with camp directors, sharing learnings, sharing ideas, working together, helping each other get through this year. Right now, heading to next summer, things are very optimistic but I would say that there are a number of states in our country still who have not yet released guidance for this summer. And so it's not a given that camp will happen, although we're working very carefully to provide the right tools and resources to each state to help them understand camp and why camp has been more successful than schools, frankly, in operating. So that's kind of the theme of this year.
Thank you so much, Tom. Carolina. And also just a reminder to our audience members, please ask your questions in the chat area. We have moderators to collect those questions, and I'm fascinated by what our presenters have for us today.
Yes, okay. Well, in our case, as I mentioned earlier, the association, the Spanish Association of Camps, is quite recent, it's new. It also has, the community is so big, it's not only summer camps, but we also included all those children activities, after school activities, also people who own the youth hostels. So it's a very large community, and they were very active during the lockdown in this group that we had in Telegram. There's also groups of agencies who provide staff for the camps, so varied that we want to make sure that we give an opportunity to all of them to belong to the association, because the more we are, the better, and there'll be more things that we can help in order to make all different areas possible. We also have a big amount of camps that are not really camps, but they're short stays. Schools go out for 2 or 3 days. They have been very, very affected because schools haven't been able to go out. So all these, the owners of these accommodations or camps have been very terribly affected because they haven't got any income in all this time. All the staff members are not working either. So we want to help everyone in the association. So basically finding new members is one of our biggest goals right now. Also, because Spain has all the different autonomies and they all, the government in each area is quite different in some cases. We want to make sure that we inform everyone. We have a legal advice for everyone in order to help. Nowadays, people are asking for different helps from the government, economical helps, obviously. So they're helping everyone with the legal advice. So that's one of the important things the association is doing. Also to help promote, because as somebody else mentioned before, families, it's only amongst those who really send their kids to camp who got all the information and they were aware of what was happening. So we want to make sure that families are convinced that the safest place they can send their kids to is in camps, because that's like a little bubble where everything is being checked and they'll be completely safe. So that's one of the biggest parts also, to make sure that everybody gets to know all our rules and regulations in each area so that they know they're going to be safe. All the legislations, as I said, protocols are going to be updated for this year. They've already started meetings in all the different regions. So we think that hopefully we will have it soon, maybe end of March or beginning of April.
Thank you so much. We're going to have to move on. You have so many great things, and I appreciate that. Pablo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gabs. First I have to say that in Mexico, there were no regulations or any guides on how to operate. There were no economic help from the government at all. I think it was more or less the other way around. So we started like feeling completely lonely. So we decided to do a couple of Zoom meetings where we could at least get together, discuss and share ideas, which was amazing because we could see that our problems were the same, more or less. So we were able to share a couple of ideas that were great. I have to thank the American Camp Association because we used their CDP to create our own. We basically tropicalized it so that it could fit our needs. And so the Mexican Camp Association did its own CDP, or Mexican CDP, that was shared with all our members. And each member on their side had to adapt it to their specific needs. But it was great to have a partner or a neighbor with so many information that was very helpful for all of us. We also started a series of webinars so that our camp directors were able to train our staff, which was pretty fun to watch and pretty interesting too. We did our camp directors meeting or retreat where we were able to discuss what was our position and what were our possibilities. So that was also a great moment to share and to, I don't know, when you're struggling, it's at least it's nice to see that you're not the only one, but it's also comfortable to hear that somebody is doing this or that. As an association, we offered to extend our membership or to offer discounts for those that wanted to join. It is incredible, but we used to be 35 before the pandemic, 45 members, and we grew up to 40 when we thought that we were going to shrink. So people saw a value in being part of the association. That was great. And right now we're working towards more legal security for our members. Many of our members didn't have the legal documents to support cancellations or the reimbursements. So we're like in a legal loophole that was very complicated. So we decided that this is something the association can tackle for all our members. So we're working to get legal documents in place so that our members can use them.
Thank you so much, Pablo.
Yes.
I know you had more to say, and you
No,
can
I had
add
nothing
that
else
to
to say.
your next piece if you would like. We'll be moving on to our third question. Harvey will be kicking us off with, what do you anticipate for the next summer / months / years? And what are you doing differently based on what you have learned from other camps? Now, this is a 1-minute answer question. I don't make up the rules. I just enforce them. Harvey, you're up to bat. Yes, we'll just ask. There you go.
Okay, thank you, Gab. Thank you. Sorry, right now a little bit problem for my microphone.
All good.
Okay, so what do you anticipate for next month or year? I put like find digital ways to build up a talent pool and training system, more like courses and seminars, etc. What that means was we are hoping China, quite like camping industry is quite growing. It's still new actually. So we're trying to build up a talent pool, which means more and more players later on, they can have the people to involve in their camps. And also the training system is very necessary because we don't have it actually based, for example, comparing the ACA or ICF, etc. We need more training courses. We need more seminars like this or online, offline formats to educate more people and to put more people in this industry. So that's what we're gonna, for the next month and year, we're gonna do.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Harvey. Pablo.
Welcome.
Thank you, Gabs. I guess that more camps will be able to open in person. Numbers in Mexico were pretty bad at the beginning of the year, but now it seems that they're getting better and vaccines are starting to roll slowly, but they're starting to roll. We proved last year that the CDP works, so we're going to make sure that camps know how to apply it. And now that we have the antigen tests, I think it's going to be a great tool for us. And I think that camps will be very valued by our community. Like families have been struggling a lot because the schools are closed. So I think that every family wants to find a good reason just to let their kids out. So we really expect good things ahead. What could we done differently? We're trying to see if there's an opening to talk to the government, but here in Mexico, it's quite difficult. But I hope that with the research that our neighbors are doing again, we can use it to show that camps are safe and the best option for the summer. So we really expect 2021 to be better, at least
Thank
better
you,
than
Pablo.
2020.
Thank you so much. Tom.
So yeah, I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. As I mentioned before, we still have a lot of work to do to help our state governments. The CDC is very cooperative with us now, and they are accepting all of the research with gratitude and applying it to other out-of-school time programs in addition to camp. So we have a high level of collaboration with them. With many states we do as well, but other states we do not. And so we're working to try to fix that, to give them resources. The research is really clear. There are a number of different studies asking that we publish them in the chat. So I think it's important that you have access to them, Pablo and everyone else that's interested in them. Essentially what we found is that the NPIs work, the non-pharmaceutical interventions work. And now this year, this summer, more camps will have access to various testing strategies, more affordable ones. And so I think there will be more opportunity. We are helping the CDC improve their day and overnight camp guidance. We are updated. The field guide has been updated numerous times and it continues to be updated. We'll be doing more and more webinars. And most importantly, I think now is the time for us to really articulate to the public why camp is essential this summer more than ever before, about the educational and emotional needs of children. The data is there. So we have research around social emotional learning and how it supports academic performance and is at the core of college and career readiness, and how this highly fractured school year has exacerbated the mental health needs of our kids. There's some studies that have been done in the US on mental health challenges with children. And also trying to tell the story of the economic impact that this pandemic has had on the camp industry. We're trying to create more camps for more children, for every child. Yet we, probably lost 18 to $19 billion in revenue for the field last year. So camps may actually fail rather than grow. So there's a lot of going on right now. Prepare to communicate to the parents and also to teachers and to the government why camp this summer more than ever.
Thank you so much, Tom, for sharing that. We're at our halfway point, and this is an important time. We're hearing a lot of heavy information, but this heavy information is to inform us and to help us plan and prepare for our future. And so I'm going to be passing this off to my good friend, mentor, and all-around energy enthusiast, Gwen, to give us a little mini body break, so then we can get ready for our second half.
All right, everyone, stand up. We're going to stretch. And Simon, if you will go ahead and roll the video so they see the wonderful children instead of me, that would be fantastic. We're going to do the ABCs of stretching. Here we go. It's going to be on the slide in just a minute. Join in together. Here we go. We're going to make letters with our bodies. Please remove the spotlight for me. Let's see the children, not me. Here we go. Stand up. Be ready. We're going to make letters with our bodies. A Y, make a Y. Excellent. Very good. Now make an L. A backwards L. Excellent. And now make a T. Well done, well done. Excellent, excellent. And a P. Very good, very good. And if you have a friend with you, you can make letters together. Well done. Thank you, thank you. And back to our panelists.
Thank you so much, Gwen. I needed that. I loved it. And I'm ready to listen to Carolina, who's going to be answering what is the best aspect of your work that other countries can learn from. And this is a 2-minute answering question.
Simon loved it so much he was going to have us do it again.
Okay, almost there.
Yes, almost there.
Almost there. Okay, then.
Hi, Carolina.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, basically helping, well, being in contact with the authorities, because they, as you know, they always think their own ways, and sometimes when they were preparing the protocol, they were thinking too much about just the health side of the aspect of that, and not taking into account economical aspects of the protocol they were preparing. Things like, you know, how many students could be in a bedroom, and they were saying we would have to build like little bubbles, and the expenses were so high that it would make everything so impossible. So by talking to them and making things clear, it helped a lot. So if it's possible, that's one of the recommendations. And then also a lot of camp directors or organizers or owners were very opposed to when they started reading all the different things we had to do at the camps. And they said, this is not going to be what it used to be, so it's better not to organize it. So I think it's the opposite. We have to organize it, even if we have to maintain 2, 3, 4 meters of distance. Children need to be in camp. So I think being positive, and when reading all the regulations, not just put your hands on the head and try to do what is supposed to be done and go forward. Because if we can do it, it will help everyone. And we were able to run the camps with a lot of restrictions, but we were able, and everyone was very thankful, and we improved in many ways. The staff was saying that having to work with those 10 kids all day long in a little bubble and not combining with other bubbles or other groups made the integration that we didn't have anyone homesick, I guess because they also wanted to leave the house after being locked for so long, but it really worked. So we were very happy about how things were run in the end.
Thank you so much, and some nice silver lining during this difficult time. Pablo.
Okay. So in our case, I think we did a couple of things that I think were great. And the first one and most important is that we bonded as an industry, and we were more open to share. I don't know if this is common in other countries, but at least here in Mexico, we were really closed. We were a very close industry, and we were not willing to share our real numbers, our problems. And this was a great way to detonate openness and getting to know that the other camp in front of you is not only it's not your competition, but it can be a friend. So we bonded a lot, and I can say that now we are a big family of 40 camps that can call each other if they need help, and that was the most amazing thing that happened for us. It also felt we felt part of something more important, or very important. So we all know, I think we all camp directors realize that what we do is very important and is very valuable, and that families will get to hear and to understand that more than ever. So even though the time is complicated right now, I think we all have good, we expect the future to be bright. And I think the best thing we did also was to be able to adapt the CDP and tropicalize it to our needs. It was a very hard work. We also took some time to develop our advanced standards, quality standards. So it was very hard work, but if COVID didn't happen, we wouldn't have time to dedicate to do those projects. So I think in the long run, we're going to come out from COVID very strong, and with better industry, I would say, standards. So we're very, very pleased about that.
Thank you so much, Pablo, for sharing that. And what a wonderful way that the community was coming together to support each other. Tom.
Okay. Yeah, similar to what you just said, Pablo. I think so. We learned there's some amazing silver linings from this crisis. Number one, a year ago, the CDC, for example, the connection between the Centers for Disease Control and the American Camp Association was very small. And now today, it's growing by the hour. So the amount of collaboration that's happening both at the state level and at the federal level is really immense. It's really extraordinary. And we're working not just on this pandemic, but we're working on immunization confidence for the whole country. When the CDC said, when we had a meeting and they said, wait a minute, you're 26 million children. That's 1/3 of all school-age kids. And yes, and so, knowing that camp directors across the country can have a voice with 26 million children and their families was really important. So we're working with them on health education, eating, physical activity, all kinds of public health issues now. Secondly, research. I think our research collaboration has really grown. There is a very impressive out of school time positive youth development research community in this country, but it's been largely unconnected from the research and evaluation teams in the public health sector of the government, like the CDC. Now that is coming together. And we're working together. And we actually have, in some cases, more research than there is on school. And school, we hope, will take advantage of what we've learned for this coming fall. The last thing I would say is that we've been able to collaborate with our out of school time sectors. So in the US, out of school time is all the time you're not in the classroom. And so there are many different industries within the out of school time sector. For example, after school programs. I know some of you run them. And so the camp sector is really connecting, and actually we're leading in bringing all these sectors together to have one voice with the government and to have one voice with the public about why these programs are so essential for the social and emotional and mental health of our young people. So those are the silver linings. I think if I would sum it up and say that we all know at this point that if parents and children have learned one thing in this pandemic, it's the value of in-person learning and how essential out of school time learning is outside in nature as well as in building. We've got to help our kids be together and develop those human skills. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Tom, and what great collaboration work that you're doing over there. Harvey.
Hi, everyone. Yes, so this is a very interesting question, actually, for us. The best aspect for us is, as everybody probably knows, China is a quite different system. As a nonprofit organization, non-government organization, CCEA, we are just trying to really help this industry grow. So in order to do that, since the government think our voice is quite still not strong enough, so our new chairman, Irene, when she got on board, our board members also decided to start to try to let more strong companies involving our board members. So we have our goal is 100 top educational or camping industries companies becoming our board members so that we can lead this industry in China. In order to do that, so as a secretary department, I am the person to go to a lot of different companies to do the survey, which means to know what's going on there. First of all, what they're doing, what they're focusing on, what their plan for the next 5 years. And also at the same time, what they are really trying to overcome this tough period. So in that way, we believe if we have more powerful companies can really do well and lead in different aspects of this camp industry. So then the China market is quite different, like you guys, like Western countries, like first of all, the parents' mindset, they're still learning. They're not like very naturally accept the camp education. Secondly, the companies, the big companies, if they're doing well, the small companies will follow up. That's why doing the survey and to know a lot of the big players, what they're doing, and in order to play our role as a nonprofit organization, then we integrate and collaborate with all of them. So then influence, and then give the government our voice. That's how we believe, and we work on that way. So that's what we're gonna say today for everybody.
Thank you so much, Harvey. Really
welcome.
appreciate that and the work that you're doing within your organization to be communicating with your country. Tom will be kicking us off on our fifth and second to last question. It's a 2-minute answer. And Tom, what did you try that did not work, but other countries could learn from?
Well, I think I've maybe mentioned this before. I think, you know, probably the most frustrating thing is that we were privileged and challenged by having the opportunity to operate some of our camps in the summer of 2020. Literally, the field guide was published on May 1st. It was the earliest version. It was the best we could do. And camps, basically, the level of collaboration with state government and federal government was not necessarily very high at all at that point. In fact, it was very challenging. So we did, though, run 60% of our day camps and 18% of our overnight camps. So there was an opportunity to learn from camp and then apply that learning to school. And unfortunately, so for example, we learned that overnight camps can bubble. And by bubbling successfully and following those NPIs, non-pharmaceutical interventions, very thoughtfully, very consistently, camps were able to be successful. And those camps that didn't follow those non-pharmaceutical interventions carefully had outbreaks. And so there's a way to learn from that. And so how we were frustrated that this fall that unfortunately the public health authorities did not apply much of the learning from the summer camp season to our school year this year. So that was unfortunate. In the end, so for example, we knew like when boarding schools opened up in the fall, they didn't learn from what camp we met with them, but they actually didn't learn about bubbling until after they had operated for maybe 3 months and made their mistakes, and then they learned. So I think there is an opportunity for so much more collaboration earlier before there's a crisis, and that may we take that with us from this journey. The other piece is that, like many of you, camp is not thought of as being a primary vehicle for education and youth development in our country. It's seen as a privilege. But we are very focused at the ACA, at the American Camp Association, on finding ways to increase the reach, the relevance, and the equitable access for camp for all children, especially those children who are disadvantaged and don't have access to camp normally. This summer, in January, the United States government issued a report, a consensus report that highlights that there's the deficits that are caused by children not having access to summer programs like camp creates a tremendous educational deficit that follows them throughout their life. Their National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Mathematics published a report. I'll try to post it to the chat. So that report came out in January before the pandemic. Then the pandemic happened. And what we saw was that the children who didn't have access to camp last summer, it exacerbated their situation. They were traumatized. And so essentially, coming out of this pandemic, we know that camp is essential after this disrupted school year. And we've seen there's data that proves that their kids have had increased mental, emotional, and social trauma. So camp, the relevance of camp is growing. The awareness of the benefits and outcomes of camp are growing. And we're looking to, so we're looking to basically elevate that message in the research community, in the press, with families. And that's really where we are right now. That's the big game, is to position camp for the future as an essential opportunity for every young person.
Thank you so much, Tom. Carolina.
Yes. Can I speak? Yeah. Okay, things that did not work. Well, going back to the different types of camps or organizations that had problems with the payments and had to give back the money. You know that the consumer rights here always defend the consumer. And they were trying to get together and make a decision that those the reservation fee shouldn't be given back. There was a lot of discussions about this. In some cases, they kept on that line. In others, we just gave all the money back because it's their right. And that caused a lot of problems because in some cases, some camp organizers rent premises to organize their summer camps. And they already spent that reservation fee. So it became a little problem that, well, I mean, big problem in some cases because those who were dealing with big numbers, it was a problem. So the government came up with a solution which was also applied to travel agencies because they also have the same problems. And it was to create like a voucher where they could use it the following year. Not everyone was open to that because some parents needed that cash. So it created a big problem. And I think this, well, in the end, it didn't really work. Everyone was doing their own stuff. So that's one of the things. And then the other thing was also to offer, there's still a big, like in Mexico, there's a lot of competition between camps. Now they're beginning to open because of all the problems we've been having. I think that now they'll be more open to be, you know, in the association together and to share experiences. And in this case, what I meant was those who didn't have enough numbers and they had to close down were offered to go to take their students to other camps and giving them a commission, obviously. But they thought that if we did that, they wouldn't gain the client back for the following year. So a lot of people didn't take that into account. But yeah, things that we tried and didn't work, basically.
Thank you so much, Carolina. Really appreciate it. Pablo.
Okay, I think that one of the things that I think we struggled the most was dealing with cancellations and reimbursements. Since we had no contract signed with many of the schools, it is quite interesting because we normally fight for a client. And sometimes a client or a school says, okay, 6th grade is going with this camp and 7th grade is going with that other camp. And we fought for those generations. But when the pandemic hit and the school turns and says, I want my money back, then we needed to talk to each other. And now we were working as a team, like what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And that was pretty fun. It wasn't fun at all, but it was pretty interesting to see that now we were teaming up. But even though there was a big difference between camps that could do it, camps that were not able to give reimbursements, and schools the way they threatened or the way they asked for those reimbursements. So I think that was the most complicated part, and we were trying to define cancellation and reimbursement policy for the association, but it was too late. Things had already happened, and it was too late to roll it back. We also tried to start a campaign about the importance of camp, but I think we started too early, and we launched a couple of videos. I think it was May or maybe June, but it was too early to go viral, or at least to it never really took off outside the camp community. It was seen and shared by our camps, but I think were never able to step outside that community. So I think even though we tried to make our voice be heard, it was heard by the same people that always hear it. So that was a little bit frustrating. And I think those were the two aspects that were more complicated for us.
Thank you so much, Pablo, for sharing that. Harvey.
Yeah, hi. Yeah. So regarding what did you try and did not work, but other countries can learn from? Again, this question really related to our country's system and our camp industry's situation, which means not like other Western countries, most of the cases. First of all, the parents' mindset needs to be educated. That's a long way to go. And second of all, the school side, like what Pablo said, you say the clients and the schools are dealing with, we can do that, but like in China, it's not work. Our situation is you must put the camp as a camp education, which is more part of the children's education system. In order to do that, you must work with the government. But now our organization is voice is new and weak. We need to do more. That's why we want to get more companies here. I say companies more like players in the camp education industry. Not necessarily has to be a business companies, or can be a nonprofit organizations, can be the campsites, any kind of the camp format players has to more involved in. So in order to do that, our organization, CCEA, wants to play that role to integrate all of the resources and get everybody together so that first of all, we have a stronger voice. Second of all, we can talk about more like standard and guideline. And third of all, we can create more activities and research or whatever the things can help this organization and also the industry. So in that way, we're trying to let some, but in the other way, at the same time, our organization has to have the money to run. So also that also different compared to Western countries. You don't have a big like a donor or the fundraising event to do. So we have to let them pay a little bit money, but how to let more companies to pay that fee to participate in the organization, that's our struggling. But right now we're trying to do better. And I think this COVID just make more companies think about this, and then the organization like CCA is really necessary. That's why we want to do more. That's what we want to everybody learn from us.
Thank you so much, Harvey, for sharing that. And thank you to our speakers for being vulnerable about the things that we've learned from and sharing that with all of us. So valuable. Before our final question that we'll be asking our panelists, this is the time to get out your piece of paper, your book, your marker, and thank you, Simone. Exactly. And this is what I would like you to do. We're going to do this at the very end, but I'd like you to think about a wish for the camping world. What do you wish for the camping world? And write that down. Or if you would like, share your action steps after this meeting. So what are some things that you might do after this meeting and to get that word out there, to give camps a voice? And some of those action steps might be contact a government, get staff involved in the next event, share a quote from some of the learning that you had today on social media, share with your camp families that you participated today. So we have two choices. One, what do you wish for the camping world? Or what are one of your actions that you'll do after this presentation? So for a very final round, we're going to be kicking it off with Pablo. And it's really our final words. And final words don't need to leave a lasting impact. And it's not actually final. Final words are there to plant a seed so that we can go out and do what we need to do to give camps a voice. So Pablo, 30 seconds.
Thank you, Gabs. Well, I think that 2020 will be remembered as one of the toughest years for our industry, but I'm also confident that in a couple of years from now, we will also see 2020 as a year, as a breaking point where camps, we learned how valuable we are, and that our communities and families will be looking for more activities like the ones we do. So I really think that that good years are coming ahead, and I totally want to thank, or at least recognize, big associations like the American Camp Association or the Australian Camp Association, Canadian Camp Association, and the Russian Camp Association. They've been a guideline for us. We're smaller, but seeing what you guys do in your countries makes us feel bad, but hopeful that if we coordinate and dedicate, we can make a big impact in our countries. So thank you for being a guideline to us.
Thank you, Pablo. And that is what the ICF is all about, is lifting each other up. Tom.
Thanks, Gabs. Me too, Pablo, me too. I would say we're proud of all these organizations and people pulling together as a team. We're really grateful for the truly heroic work of camp leaders, camp counselors to create safe and supportive spaces for children and youth and families. And they're doing it not just during the summer, but they're doing it in learning hubs right now in support of schools that are not operating fully across the country. They're truly frontline workers and heroes. And on the other end of this pandemic, I mentioned this before, I know if there's one thing that everyone will agree on is that in-person learning and in-person connection is critical to a child's education. So they'll understand the essential need for camp experiences during the school year, during the summer, all the time, right? And that we should all just, this summer, I think last summer was pretty scary, like Pablo mentioned. This summer is a summer of opportunity. It will go down in the books, the history books. 2021 will be that summer when we rose up and provided the most stable and impactful education of all. And again, we're all in this together. So please email me or text me or let me know how I can be helpful to each of you. We're all in this together.
Thank you so much, Tom. And I love that we're all in this together. Carolina.
Well, we've all gone through this from the lockdown until now with lots of things going on in our heads, but it has been a really terrible time. Mostly, we always think of us, the organizations, but the children have been affected terribly, and some of them, you can see now their reactions. I have a friend who has a 3 or 4 year old child. He doesn't know how to hug or kiss because they're so afraid that everyone's being so affected with this, that I think the camps are a big part of making sure that everything goes back to normal life. Also, during the difficult times, we have learned to open up with all our peers, not only regional, but national and international. We've all got together, thanks to all the new technologies with our Zooms and stuff, but we've all been connected. And I think that has been very, very important because as we all say, when things are difficult, when you look around and you see that everybody's suffering the same way as you, it helps you continue and gives you a lot of courage. We have learned, as I said, with all the new technologies to take the time that we had been taken from us, you know, the freedom of going out to have a drink with your friends, to learn, to do lots of webinars, to get better, to improve, to get all your stuff ready for the next summer. If it's not next summer, the following, but we have to prepare ourselves for later. Also, families and children, I think, well, not that I think, I know because I'm already answering the phone calls, everybody is going to appreciate more the time that they spend in camps. I get emotional, I'm very sorry, but it's very important for all of us. Thank you.
It is, Carolina, and I appreciate that. And we're in camp, we are in the business of creating connections to each other, to ourselves, to camp. And as you talked about, technology has helped that, and we can role model how we do that with the world. So I really appreciate your passion and your words. Hardy.
Yes, thank you, Gab. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate. I feel like this COVID really actually get us closer and know each other better and more necessary. We need to work more closely, and more effectively. So the word I want to say to the world was also representing my chairman Irene and also our board members, people. Number one, we still CCEA in China. We're still going to focus on collecting more companies and players in our organization to lead this industry, because this is how the China's way, not like other markets. So that we can have a stronger voice and to do more for this industry, which means to do more for kids and families and for schools, for government. Number two, our organization, we believe this industry need to be more, each part of the industry in this whole camp education. It's part of it. Like some companies taking care of the safety, some companies taking care of the course designing, some company taking care of the facilities. This is what we believe. So more and more different part of the companies, players involved in this industry will grow more healthy and better. And we will support that. And third of all, I would share this with everybody today. China market now is opening after Chinese New Year because of COVID. China government controlling very well. So our domestic market is really opening. So more and more China's camps are opening fully. So a lot of international camps players before they are switching to the domestic market. So as long as the China's government open our border, we really welcome everybody can come to China. Plus right now at the beginning of this seminar, you see the ICC is here in China. So we believe in October, this is gonna happen. So this year, not gonna be delayed again. So let's all get together and work better. We really hope something like ICF today, what you did, everybody from all over the world, our camp peers, we can work closely and work better. Let's keep our cautious optimistic, but at the same time, we believe tomorrow will be better.
Thank you so much, Hardy, for that. And yes, ICF is hosting ICC in China, and I just can't imagine the anxiety and the stress of postponing. But I see the great work that you're all doing, and I'm very excited for this event for all of us to come together.
Yes.
We will be moving on to our next segment, which will be holding up your sign. We are going to give you a little bit of time to fill out your sign. This is an important aspect because it is important to show that we have come together under this space, under this time. So Simone, if you can just put up that last slide, just so people can see a wish for the camping world or share your action steps. While you're writing that up, I just want to end with a couple of words. I want to say thank you very, very much to our panelists today. It is important for the camp community to share. And often when we are looking at competitors, we look at our neighbors. And truly, the camp community, they're not competitors. We have to look at it as contributing to the conversation and not competing in the conversation. And that's one of the takeaways today. The other thing is that our staff and our families and our campers need to know that there's a larger industry than just your camp business. Most campers, staff members, alumni, and parents, their connection to camp is simply through you, not through other camps or other organizations. Much like restaurants, it is easy to see the restaurants around your city, but it is difficult to see the camps. And so therefore, it is important to share the conversation that we had today, primarily with our staff members. On ICF YouTube, please share this video. Have your staff members highlight some of the things that they found interesting that was happening around the world. This is extremely important on giving camps a voice. For our staff members and campers, they think their little home is the only place that does what you do. But we need to let them know that there's a much bigger industry, and not only an industry, but a movement that wants to make the world a better place for children. We teach life skills at camp so that those life skills can impact us outside of camp. We are an essential service when it comes to our communities. As camp directors and camp professionals, we have a hard time saying what we do. Maybe we're a little too humble, but now is not the time to do so. Now is the time to reach out to your fellow camp professionals and say, I am here to share my mistakes with you so you can learn. And I am here to tell my staff and my families what I do and what I do well. The world needs camps, and we can no longer be quiet about it. So now is the time to grab your piece of paper and hold it up to the screen. Make sure that your face is visible. We want to see you and have that message high. Also make sure to share what you have learned today. We can no longer keep quiet about the wonderful work that we do at camps. Time to hold up our signs, and we're going to hold them up for a little while because we need to take a couple of screenshots. And I see some wonderful, wonderful signs. Yes, we camp. Let's work together. Camp forever. We will be back. Keep calm and camp on. What wonderful signs that I am seeing popping up. It is what, oh yeah, people are using their computer screens. Oh, just people around the world doing what we do to make the world a better place. If that doesn't fuel you, call Tom. He has some great suggestions on how you can support your industry. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody. Simone, did we get everybody that we needed? Yes, absolutely fantastic.
Almost. Give me one.
Oh, we're gonna get, sorry.
Screenshots.
I can stand here all day, no problem.
Can we do a grid screenshot? A grid with everybody? Can you switch to grid view, please?
Yeah, we do have the grid screenshot.
Stay still, Fari.
So just keep it there for one more second, please.
Fari. One more second.
Get rid of the spotlight, please. Let's get everybody in the grid.
We do have the grid.
You have the grid.
But everybody needs to. Fantastic. So going back to you, Gabs.
Thank you.
And
now, before I pass it on to our president, I'd like to ask you to do us one little favor, to complete our poll. The poll will pop up in front of you. It is a simple little questionnaire to help inform us how we can best support you. Let's take the next 1 minute to complete that poll. I know Simone is working to get it up there. There we go. So we have 6 little questions just to click and answer those questions. If we can do that right now, that would be wonderful. And then we'll pass off to final comments with Fari. Wonderful. Answers are coming in nice and quickly. Again, I'd like to say thank you to Tom, Pablo, Carolina, Harvey for taking time to prepare and share your words. What inspirational things you're doing around the world and continuing to do. I'm certainly inspired and excited to get to work on my own camp.
Ten seconds, yes. Everyone, 10 seconds.
And you can check our social media later to find out the results.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And now I'll pass it off to Fari.
Simon, if you'll go to the next, there we go.
This has been awesome. Thank you. I think it's a milestone for ICF. So we used to get together during the ICC congresses all the time to share experiences, but this pandemic and the technology gave us a chance to get together and share a lot of ideas, opinions, and bad experiences, and also feelings. One of the main purposes I would say the first purpose of ICF is to connect people. And that's why our website domain is ICF Connect. So I am very, very pleased and honored to be a part of this gathering, which connects the whole part of the people around the world. So this is terrific. And I would like to thank a few people for this amazing work. First, the team who prepared this webinar. Simon, thank you. Pablo, for the technology backup and for helping us. Alexia, for those who had the chance to meet with Linda Pullum, I feel like she's our new Linda, always iron, like an iron, always pushing people, always right on time. And she's heading our communication, and she has done a great job. And special thanks to our past president, John Jorgensen, who has always been supportive to all the new ideas and supporting the team as a mentor. And thanks to Gabriel for doing a lot of work before this webinar, and also during for this work you have done during this 1.5 hours. And another very special thanks to our hidden power, Gwen Powell. Sometimes we hear her voice, sometimes she is making us do some exercise, but she has been really amazing to help us. And I hope you all took some notes and you got some ideas, inspirations, and I took a lot of pages of notes to learn and to swallow, to digest, and use for the future steps. And this series of webinars will continue. We have 3 more webinars planned. All of them will be great and fantastic, and we will focus on how to be better prepared to the next season, upcoming summer camp season. So stay with us, and you can bring more and more of your staff, more colleagues, more camp people, more competitors, more sponsors, whoever have any kind of relationship with camping industry, or children or parents. Feel free to share our links and help them find the ICF Connect platform, register for the event. Anybody who have a passion to camps are welcome, more than welcome, and they're one of our family. Thanks to everyone for being here, and looking forward to see you in the next webinar very soon. Thank you.
Yes, and just a little note, that next webinar is March 2nd at 8 p.m. and that will be with Mark Collard, and we'll be talking about top 10 interactive exercises to help campers and staff have fun, connect, and build trust. This is a session that we should be inviting our staff members to. Remember, it is free. There is a maximum number, so please register your staff members individually for this webinar. And we hope to see everybody there. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Stay well.
Yeah, you too.